Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. Today, we have a very interesting show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So what happened? About a month or so ago, there was a pretty heated exchange that took place on ESPN First Take. During that segment, it featured Stephen A. Smith, Molly Qerim, Monica McNutt, and Shannon Sharpe. And they were discussing who else, none other than Caitlin Clark, right? Who's the most popular WNBA player, breaking all kind of records for attendance. She's putting up some gaudy numbers as a rookie and all of that, right? So they were arguing whether or not she should be on the Olympic team and all of this. And they're having this back and forth and all of this. And towards the end of it, Monica McNutt decides to blindside Stephen A. Smith by basically saying that he, with his platform, could have done more for women's sports, which ended up, specifically the WNBA, which ended up sparking this huge conversation in the sports world about the WNBA, how it's covered and is it being promoted enough and all of that. And it created a pretty awkward, sour moment between Stephen A. Smith and Monica McNutt, and they brought her on again and other people came, and it became this big talking, this big discussion, and actually some residual effects were still lingering because we produced the show about a week or so ago that now has 650,000 views. And it was centered on that same thing, where Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe were calling out Molly Qerim for basically acting like as if she didn't say what she said back then when they were promoting Caitlin Clark. But then what happened? This morning, I came across an article from Front Office Sports where Monica McNutt was essentially breaking her silence over the viral moment, viral exchange that she had with Stephen A. Smith. But before I even get into what she had to say in the article, I want to play a quick refresher of what actually took place about a month or so ago on ESPN First Take. And then when I come back and continue on the show, take a listen to the original thing that set off this entire thing. So take a listen to that there.
We all agree that this play was unacceptable, but in general, this is still competition.
That's my biggest mistake. You're right, guys.
Shannon ain't gonna say
I
it,
look
baby.
at other people as I see myself.
Shannon ain't.
Oh my God.
Go ahead,
Shannon
Stephen
ain't
A.
gonna say it, but Shannon ain't gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. The word is resentment, and I'm talking about what I feel about this whole conversation. Nobody said all. Nobody painted the WNBA with a broad brush. We're talking about a young lady that has come into the sport and is contributing to the financial backbone of the WNBA and simply imploring everybody to see the big picture and how it serves to benefit the whole. And because we brought that up, it's turned into a conversation with resentment, jealousy, whatever. I'm saying, the resentment is legit, but it's also justified if you've been in the league busting your tail to help uplift it, and then somebody comes along and before they play one game, you're labeling them the savior. A lot of people, a bunch of men would feel resentment towards that too. But we bring it up here, and all of a sudden we got to safeguard and couch every little syllable when we're talking about competition and we're talking about the league and we're talking about revenue and money and how everybody wants to get paid. What's the maximum salary in the WNBA, Eminem? Isn't that like 241,000 or something like that? Is that
it's
the
like
number?
250.
250, right?
Yeah.
$250,000. These girls are stars. They're doing commercials now. They're gonna be making dollars upon dollars on Madison Avenue, and they deserve it. We're talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let me. I know we got to go to break. Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest.
How about being a black man?
Being black.
Hold on 1 second.
Have you?
So this is what I'm saying to y'all, though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there, and maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. No. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are going to say and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got to go to you guys.
So did you say
you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen
us?
A., I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's.
I got it.
You're my guy, but I'm talking to you.
I got it.
Guys, I really appreciate
you're my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot.
Stephen A.,
Guys,
3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
Guys,
Nobody was, Monica. You making Stephen A's point, Monica. Monica, you making Stephen A's point.
Please let me do my job. Please let me do my job. We've gone for 40 minutes straight. It was a riveting discussion. I have to get into commercial break.
So you heard that there, right? So now what we want to do is we actually want to get into this article from Front Office Sports where we go over some of her new comments, in terms of what happened between herself and Stephen A. Smith. But before we even get into what Monica McNutt had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. With only 4 months left until the end of the year, I look forward to creating special moments with family and friends by attending various theaters, shows, plays, and sporting events. And when it comes time for me to look for tickets, I absolutely love to use Game Time. Game Time is one of the most reliable marketplaces for last-minute tickets to the most popular events in sports, music, and theater in more than 60 cities across the United States and Canada. Game Time saves me money, time, and peace of mind so I don't have to sort through thousands of tickets looking for the best prices or worry about whether or not if they're authentic or whether if I'm going to receive them on time. Game Time Picks, one of my favorite Game Time tools, analyzes thousands of tickets for all of your favorite events near your location and finds you the best possible deal so you don't have to. For example, I'm looking forward to this upcoming concert at Madison Square Garden of one of my favorite composers, Hans Zimmer. Here I can select the all-in price to see the total ticket price up front. No hidden fees. And now I can sort through the best possible deals I can find. I can choose the cheapest deals, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. And if you're like me and always make plans at the last minute, you can grab tickets up to 90 minutes after the event has started. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me get into what the article has to say. It says ESPN's McNutt fallout from viral women's basketball argument blew my mind. It continues on. When Monica McNutt told Stephen A. Smith in June he could have been doing more to promote women's sports in recent years, she couldn't imagine what would come next. Speaking to Amanda at Front Office Sports Tuned In Summit, McNutt, an ESPN basketball analyst who also calls Knicks games on the radio, said the tidal wave of reaction that followed for challenging ESPN's franchise player was completely unexpected. McNutt was debating with Smith and Shannon Sharp about Caitlin Clark when Smith asked, who talks about the WNBA, who talks about women, who talks about women's sports more than First Take? McNutt, who starred at Georgetown before pursuing a broadcasting career, said, Stephen A. Smith, respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing more for years if you wanted to. 3 months later, McNutt said, the negative criticism that followed really blew my mind. The way the whole thing panned out to me, I was shocked, McNutt said. I really thought I said water is wet, and Stephen A. Smith and I are totally fine. As one of our leaders said, he's not the only one with strong opinions, but for me, it wasn't disputable. Speaking of Smith, McNutt added, I genuinely was like, I know how hard you work. I know your influence at the company. It was, you probably could have been a part of this as I see it from my perspective. After the viral First Take moment, Smith went on his podcast to say he has a great relationship with McNutt, but added she wouldn't be on the show if it weren't for him. Smith spoke at Tuned In shortly before McNutt did, and both said their relationship is in a great place. Smith's podcast ran, however, wasn't my favorite thing, McNutt said. Ultimately, I think it's a moment that people remember as an opportunity to discuss women's sports more consistently, she said. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things. You guys can go read the rest of it, but you got the gist of what she was saying. So first thing she said was she said that she was saying that water is wet, basically saying that she was speaking the obvious. I have to push back. First of all, Stephen A. Smith has been progressive when it comes to these issues. If you watch ESPN, and I'm going to say it, if you watch ESPN First Take, there are a number of days, or hell, even a week in a row, where you see an entire female panel, all female analysts, right? I've seen him do this. I've seen him bring on a bunch of women on numerous occasions. I've seen this go on now for a very long time. So when she said that, I was just as surprised as Stephen A. Smith was, because I'm like, but he's been going out of his way to not only talk about women's sports more, but give women analysts a platform by coming on ESPN First Take. And he himself has said on numerous occasions that you don't get on ESPN First Take without his consent. You just don't get on the show without his consent. So when she was saying that, I was like, what is going on here, number one? Number two, if you listen to the argument that they were having, and also to the things he's been saying afterward, Stephen A. Smith has been one of the biggest proponents of who? Caitlin Clark, who is the most popular WNBA player as a rookie, or period. So he's been a big proponent of hers. He's been one of the people saying, why don't you guys take the opportunity to capitalize on the momentum that she's created and all of that. So when she went out there and said that, I was like, I'm confused. Now, some people took exception with him saying it was like, I made you. I don't think that's what he was saying. He's just keeping it. He's saying, look, I brought you on the platform. It's a fact. I don't think he's saying he's making or breaking her. I don't think he meant that. He's just saying, look, I brought you on the show, the #1 sports show in the United States. So to me, look, she's saying that water is wet. I get it, and Stephen A. Smith could have been doing more before this, but so could other people. He's not the only one. And number two, why does it have to be him that has to do it? I don't get how you're saying that we would like you to do something, or rather, please, can you do this for us? And oh, by the way, you should have been doing it. Does he have to? I don't think he has to. These are my thoughts. What I want to know from you guys, whose side are you on when as it pertains to this issue? Are you on Stephen A. Smith's side, or are you on Monica McNutt's side? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.